Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 45th episode of the HSBG podcast. Hey, let's go. I'm your host, Educatedcollins. I'm here with my constant co-host, Shadybunny. Shady, how you doing?
Great, Collins. I'm looking forward to this one. How are you?
I'm also doing pretty good, feeling all right, generally not too bad. Like, it's normally I say I'm okay. But I'm okay. I'm better than okay today.
Okay, plus.
Yeah,
That's
okay
good.
plus. Yes, that's actually a very good target for how I'm feeling, So yeah, pretty good. But yeah, we've got I don't know if it's a jam packed, but we got an interesting. I would say this is an important podcast if you want to listen. We've got the meta discussion. We've got the new patch, right? The patch we were going to talk about last week, but it was too long, so we moved it to this week. And then the most important thing, Lobby Legends. We want to do a big overview of that, so that after this podcast, you kind of know what's going on, how to get in, how to get out, what you're looking for, and just like how the format's going to look. So you're really going to understand what this esports for Battlegrounds is going to be looking like over this year, I would say. So a lot of interesting things for this particular podcast, and we can just get started. You know how it is. First, we always talk about our weekly overview, and I don't really remember this week. Actually, I don't know. I'm just playing and trying to, not. I At least there's a concrete goal. I'm glad they told us, oh, top 16. So at least near after this announced, it's like, okay, I need to not throw. Let's not do a Collins strat and just start throwing it like for no reason. Right? I'm very swingy. I feel as a player where there'll be days where I'm just like, here's 500 MMR. You're just doing okay. Next day, here's negative 500. Come on, Collins. Please stop throwing. So I'm trying to mitigate that downside. As long as I keep doing that, I should be okay. So I've been having a pretty good week. There are some days where I'm like, I'm not playing well, and maybe I won't play as much, but um, that isn't as common. I feel I'm getting better. Like you're recognizing that and making sure I'm sleeping well and doing stuff, so I don't just like have a bad day because of something I did, like mentally. How about you?
Yeah, those days you will be mad at yourself that you allowed that to happen. You're like, damn it, why did I do
Eh,
X or Y that now my game is off.
I don't know if I'm necessarily mad at myself, but I'm just like, okay, I'm not having a good day. Why am I still playing? Like that's what I'm at. Like, okay, I recognize this isn't a good day for me to play. All right, so stop playing. And I'm like,
Why
no,
can't I stop?
I'm not playing bad. It's not me,
Because
right?
you could just
I
it
could
could just
just
work
win.
out next game.
Yeah.
It could just work out. I'm gonna queue up and it could just work out.
I've lost like 300 MMI, and I'm like, I've gotten 8-3 games out of 4. Like, next game has to be a first, right?
It could be.
Oh
Just
man, it's so
that's
bad.
likely. That's funny. Yeah.
But yeah.
My week has been good as well. I feel like the playing field is a bit more level for me right now. I wasn't able to play the first week due to moving, and
Right.
it was a very, very tempo heavy patch with
Mm.
Illidan being good, all the 2-star buddies being very prevalent. Now that they've nerfed tempo a bit, it's a patch that I feel like I agree with quite a bit. Where, well, not maybe not in terms of philosophy, but my playstyle agrees with it.
Right.
Where there's a lot more. It's weird. It's like I used to be the very consistent tier 4 bunker down, take your 20
And
MMR,
then I
go to the next
corrupted
game.
you. Feels good, man.
It's just now. It's just go to 6, go to
Go to
6, go
6.
to
Yep,
6.
that's how you do it.
So there's so many games where I'm just it feels like I also had to adjust to 5 being more expensive, and now I can
Yeah,
just like, okay,
yeah,
now I can do it. This
that's
turn I
true.
can do it. I can go to 5 and do it. So yeah, and like there's been good. Like I haven't really had a bad day. I've had like days where I didn't climb, and then days where I get like the 500 or 600 boost that you mentioned. So it's been good so far. But yeah, I mean, still a bit lower MMR than you are, so it's
You'll
easier for me to not get the big, the big minus.
you'll get there. I fully believe.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that Lobby Legends for this month for me is a little out of reach, but who knows? The next one, I saw that they were pretty close together. The
Yeah,
qualifying
I think
rounds,
the
it's just
next
one
one's
point.
in May. So
Sure.
so
Okay.
it might mean the qualifiers in the month before January,
Yeah. Either way,
right?
like
April, right? So yeah.
it's not gonna be half a year. Right? So,
Yeah, right. Like that. Like I remember, like before, it's like 2 events a year,
yeah,
maybe, and it's
if you're
invitational.
lucky, right? And you'd have to get
Yeah.
invited. Yeah.
It's so hard, right? It's so tough. So
And this one, it feels like the whole ladder is invited, right?
yeah,
It's like you just play, right? And if you make it a top, like you have a claim to it. You get to play, you get to try. If you end up in the top 16 at the end of the month, in this case February, get to play the big leagues. So that's fun.
yeah. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, generally we've been having good weeks. I like to hear that. Honestly, I like to hear that. Oh yeah, I had a good week. Oh, you had a good week too. I was like, yeah, I love
As
it.
long as we stay away from each other's servers, right? That's
Yeah,
perfect. Right?
yeah. You're not in my server. It's so true.
You don't have a great week when I'm online. But
Down my server, dude. When you started playing, you were playing on my server. I was like, no, no.
that's one slot less. What are you doing, Shady? You idiot. Go back to Europe. No, I warmed up, quote
Yeah,
unquote
yeah.
warmed up on NA. So which I think helped. My EU MMR went up like really fast. So I
That's
got
good.
the problems, the little learning pains out of the way, practicing on NA.
So, main
Cool.
topic, patch 22.4. So we were gonna talk about this last week, but it hadn't dropped yet. So we were just speculating basically on everything. Now that the patch has been out, I'm pretty sure we have a lot more established opinions on the changes, how it feels, how it's impactful. So we can kind of just jump right into it and
Sure.
see what we think about some of the changes. Battlegrounds updates, new hero. So we have Varden, Dawn's Grasp. You know, price is nice, but twice as bad. 2 times 0, still 0. As after Bob's Tavern's refresh, copy and freeze one of his minions. So it ends up freezing the rightmost minion. And I think that messes if you like lock in the shop, it will like only target the rightmost or something. I haven't played the hero, full disclosure, but I once again
Oh,
I
so I've played it. So
oh
it
yeah.
just says after Bob's Tavern is refreshed, right? So if you freeze, it
It
shouldn't do
doesn't. It
anything.
shouldn't do anything. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what if you can't freeze one minion, right? You're not that hero. Well, what if you have like the elemental freeze? Does that work? It won't work, right?
Well, I mean, so the elemental will be frozen, but it'll
But it'll be
go on
on
the
the
far
left.
left.
Yeah, so it won't matter. Okay.
So the new roll will copy the minion that's on the far right.
Right. But
So it's really, I don't think you can manipulate it in
manipulated.
that.
Yeah, it's just random.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's whichever one you roll into.
So, my opinion last week was, I don't think it was gonna be good, but I had to see other people play it, and now I've seen other people play it, and I'm very confident in my initial assessment that yeah, I don't think it's gonna be very good. But once again, I thought it would be hard to judge just because it's really hard to know like how easily you'll get the triples. Is it relevant? I thought the buddy sucked. That was one thing like that I was pretty clear on. The buddy doesn't do anything. It's you're getting 2/2 stats like on half a minion that you might want. Like it seemed kind of bad. So that one I think I was pretty clear on. But I wasn't sure how good the passive would be if the passive was worth it. It was also tier 2 buddy, which also made me question things. But I just didn't like the it does nothing for you and the like there's no late game in terms of buddies. I really like buddies that like spike in the late game, right? Like where you get the buddy late, you're like, yeah, this is gonna make me significantly stronger, where this one doesn't do anything, right? It reminds me of Jandis's buddy, but it's a worse version too, in terms of like how much stats you're getting by using it. So really didn't like it. But yeah, is this like the worst heroes right now? Actually, if you look at the stats, it might be. Uh, Um, definitely
Yeah, I
struggling.
tried him out one time. I wasn't too impressed. I actually had a shop with 4 micro mummies in it when I already had 2 micro mummies on the shop. So I was in on the board. I was just like, literally any other card here, Bob. Come on. So yeah, it was very obviously very easy to triple with this hero, but just not good enough in an environment where we have all kinds of crazy shit going on. It's too. It's like, oh, you mean I can get a triple? Like discover a minion from the next tavern tier? That's my whole thing. Is like, yeah, it's like, okay,
it's
cool, right? Like
it's
even like
worse than
that
that.
was
Don't
that was
you?
Zephyrus's spiel, right? Zephyrus did that, but now Zephyrus is like, well, I'll give you a triple, and then I'll copy that one, and then we can make a golden mama bear. It's just like, yeah, like that. See that I can do something with that. That's really good. You can do some cool stuff with that. But this is just like you're more likely to triple, and then at some point, like the problem is the buddy needs to be on the board actually from the
From
start
the beginning,
for the
yeah.
stats to be relevant, right? Because you don't care if the copy has +2/+2 once you have the buddy. It's just like too little, too late, not good enough,
They
not
need
cool.
to experiment with tier 1 buddies. I'm telling you. That sounds
Yeah,
cool. Where you got these like
a
bad.
little toxic maybe. Well, with you do get a really early power spike, but
Yeah, but
hey,
I
with
mean, it's got to be unplayable heroes, right?
yeah,
Like
if the heroes are bad enough, right? You give Pyramid that shit, right? Or like, look, this is a tier 1 buddy. I'm just giving you so much advantage in the early game. Run
Tasman.
with it.
I don't even know if Tasman would be good. Like it's actually crazy. I don't even know if that would like help her be playable. Like
Yeah, you'd have to just completely disregard. Well, unless there's
her
a common,
power,
right?
right?
But
You
yeah,
you
you'd
just
have to just be like, okay, I have some extra tempo, and that's it. I'm gonna have to try to either do some Khadgar stuff, or I'm gonna have to just hit basically.
actually crazy that I can say that and I'd be like, yeah, I
Yeah.
see it. Yeah. Well, moving on.
Yes.
Overall, don't like this one. Next one we've got Rikara. Rikara I thought would be interesting. It I actually I got my initial assessment right. I think you'd have to watch like my VOD from patch. But yeah, after a friendly minion kills an enemy, give it +1 attack permanently. I was I was wondering whether you had to be the one that attacked or not to get the attack, and I thought if you didn't have to be the one that attacked, then this would be playable pretty good, right? So turns out that is the case where as long as it's killing something, you're getting the +1 attack. So in the early game, this actually is pretty relevant where you're gonna have a lot of extra attack on a lot of your units because you're going to be killing things. People run a ton of tokens early, so you're just like, here's
Mhm.
an attack, here's an attack, here's an attack. So you end up,
Have you played her or not
yeah,
yet?
I've played it. I've
Okay,
played her the most. This is the hero I've played the most
sure.
of the three, and turns out being because you're getting extra attack, you get your buddy earlier. So this is more of a 3.5. Even though it's a tier 4 buddy, it ends up working like a
Yeah.
3.5. You'll get it pretty early in a lot of cases. And the buddy is after a friendly minion kills an enemy, gain +1 permanently. Initially, I thought that you would be buffing the minion that killed gets the buff, but no, this one gets the buff, so it steals all the health buffs.
Yeah,
I thought it was crazier. Like oh yeah,
yeah.
everything just gets so much health. But it just stacks on this one. So the one issue I have with this particular buddy is that it doesn't scale in attack, right? So you have to manually scale with attack. Attack doesn't scale that easily with this. It is a beast, right? So it has a type, so you can buff it manually, but if you're not paying attention to this buddy, a lot of times it's going to be like a 7 attack, a 10 attack. In the late game, that like dies to everything. Everything kills it.
It gets value traded.
So that's the one like clear drawback. It's a tier 4 buddy, and it doesn't like win you the late game or anything like that. And even though it comes out okay, you still have to play around being stronger than your opponent. So when the moment you become weaker than your opponent, right? You stop killing things. It's so bad, right? Because you're getting no stats and you're taking so much damage. So it's playable. It's not like amazing or anything, right? I had like 3 ratings where Onyxia is playable. That would be playable. Ricard is and Varden's bad. So this is like but I've picked it before. I thought it wasn't like atrocious, but it's not playable in the sense like, oh yeah, I've given this option, I'll click it. There's definitely going to be so many options, so many um, options from Bob in the hero selection where I'm like, Ricard is here, but I don't want it. So not something I jump for joy at, but if I'm forced to pick it, I'm forced to pick it. And I do think it gets better in specific lobbies. I can't really tell you what lobbies they are, but I know that there will be lobbies, especially when tokens are in, right? Maybe demons or something, where you're getting a ton of early attack, and then you can maybe use that to, do whatever. So I do think there's value in the hero. I'm just like not super sold on it, but I think.
I had a really nice game on her with Arm. It was very, very fun. Where you
Have I even bought ARM in the
yeah.
past week?
Well, so
Maybe once.
I think that for the vast majority of the player base, it's probably okay to play the hero. I think I agree with your assessment in that you don't really want to commit to this hero where you're like, oh, nice, Rokara, nice, slam dunk, let's play. Because it's going to be hard to get that first place. And I think in our position where you're really climbing for front page leaderboard, the hero you pick, it's got to be having some first
It's
place
got to be
potential.
playable to win. Yeah, there's been, dude,
Yeah.
more than ever. There's been some hero selections where I'm like, this one is okay, but this one wins more. But this one also
Yeah.
goes 8th more. But let's pick it. Let's pick the one.
This is
I'll
really
I'll just not go 8th like the other players. I'll just win the lobby because it wins more. And
yeah, it
sometimes you
was
go 8th for sure. But
it just felt like a very fun game for me where I had taunted deflectos
yeah,
with
that's how you do it. I think if you're
yeah.
gonna take ARM, that's how you do it.
It's a very, very old school play style where you just do taunt comp with arm and taunted divine shields, and it scales very, very fast in attack. So you're basically going to be poisonous because they gain attack by killing things. They gain attack, and especially if you have deflectors that are reshielding, they're killing multiple things per fight as well. So they really, really farm. And then when the ice snarl has some health as well, you just taunt that too. And then the arm just increases the attack on the ice snarl. And then
That makes sense.
yeah, you end up with like a
Oh,
60 health minion or something, but also has a bunch of attack.
you
So
know what's
then
so annoying is when uh you kill the ice now, but then it gains that health and then it's like
yeah,
still alive. And it's like,
heals.
oh my god, please stop. I don't want to take this for it's so man. It's like killing tokens and it's like healing. Like stop it. Stop killing healing. But yeah, but other than that, like I do think unless you invest into it in the late game, a lot of times you're selling it off because it just isn't as strong as
Hmm.
other.
So, thinking, I feel like she's just not a hero where you get to do that, where you get to
I
be like,
I do that with every hero. Like if you're not
yeah,
strong
sure,
enough, I'm selling
okay,
you a
I
sucker.
think most people, right? But whatever, yeah, sure. So I find this one probably the most fun to play. I've played one Onyxia game. I can see her being better just because she feels avenge a bit
She is
more.
better for sure. But moving on to Onyxia, yeah, I think this one is playable. This is the one I wanted to play when I saw the heroes. This is the one like, oh yes, Onyxia. I would try this one. This is the only one where I said I would try it. The other ones I was like, maybe if I'm forced to. But yeah, I would say this one's the best out of the 3, just because the 2-1 webs actually do quite a bit of. They're quite efficient in a sense because it's avenge because they count as an avenge proc. After the first one's avenge 3, which isn't like too bad. And the early game, there's a lot of good avenge units on 1. So you can stay on one. You can get like uh the acolyte. You can get Icky Imp. Icky Imp's so nutty actually with this. Right, you always
Yeah.
get the 2/1 proc.
You're basically a gray bow in terms of what you want on your board.
Yeah, you can get Scally. There's a, and even like tokens, right? They count as two. So there's quite a number of units on one that can make you get at least two procs. So you get more damage than your opponent, right? So you get this buddy pretty early because you're always getting that two, that extra two, right? Like it, you're never getting 99 with this hero because like, oh, here's two more damage. Here's two more damage. Oh, there you go, you're done. Like so, you get the buddy pretty early, and it scales relatively well. A lot of I've seen a lot of people just keep this until until the end of the game, basically because uh, it's a free 50-50. It's a free 60-60 sometimes. Where you're just like, oh yeah, here's a lot of stats, and it has a tag, which I think is really important, right? So if you get a Cali, it's like, oh, here you go, just immediate way to immediate target a buff. If you get a brand, here's a buff target. So just having a tag is really important. And since it's tier 2, you get the golden. You can get the, like, I think the special thing about tier 2 is you can get the golden before you have direction. I think that's the real broken thing about tier 2 buddies that are good tempo and you can keep. You can get the golden before you can get direction. So the golden version can give you the direction to build your comp around. Right? I think that's the real strength of tier 2s. Where tier 3s, tier 4s, if you don't have direction, you're going for the golden for direction, you're dead. It's it's too late. But the tier 2, you can get it quick enough, especially like tempo tier 2s like Bukla and stuff like that. You can get the golden and then like, oh, an Eliza. Okay, I will play that comp. Essentially, where so I do think it being tier 2 is really powerful. It's got good tempo. It keeps you healthy. And it also breaks shields. I've seen so many fights where I'm like, oh man, and then the whelp kills the shield. I'm like, oh, okay, now we win. Where I was like, oh, we're dead. The deflector's gonna kill us. Oh, it broke the shield. Okay, now we win. So it even in the late game where you think 2-1 is not that relevant, the ability to break shields, to kill spores, to kill like these little tokens that could break your shield, it ends up being relevant. So I do think this is the best one of the three. Another thing is avenge comps get better, right? I haven't even talked about that, right? But you can just run a light spawn and then bam, here's two extra buffs. You put Nest Matron, here's more buffs, more things. So you can build comps around it. It's good generally. It has scaling. You can keep it in the late game. It's a tier 2 buddy. It has a tag. I mean, it's a good hero. So that's
Yeah,
my
that makes sense.
Anything to add? Not really. Okay, I covered everything.
No, basically the same, right? If you can get avenge, this is probably going to be quite nice.
Yeah, all right. So I think if you were to play one of the three, this is the one. But I think Ricard is also playable. But I just think this one's the better out of all of them. So another important thing is the hero pool update. So Kel'Thas, Silas, and Cheval have been returned to the hero pool. So they weren't here before, but now we get to play with them. And I guess with Shimvala, they also recognize that tier 2 is too crazy for it, and they moved to the. I do think that Silas and Shavala are playable. Kel'Thas, not for me personally. So I'm not. I haven't played him, but I'm imagining it's not going to be good, even if I did play him.
Yeah, I've played him. I've played him through Finley, right? So I got the buddy earlier, and then
It's not a. Isn't it a tier 3? It should, or is it? It's a tier 4
I
buddy.
thought it was a tier 4.
Wait, I don't even know. Is it really a tier 4 buddy? Come on,
I think
Kel'Thas.
it's a tier 4. Yeah.
No, you're
Either way, it's kind of the same problem as with Rokara, where you're very unlikely to be able to play for the win. So I think for the regular player, like not the worst thing ever, right? But I think the higher up you go in MMR, the worse it gets.
Yeah, I have to check. That's so brutal if it's really
Either way, Silas feels super nice. So the way how Silas was played before was you pretty much bought anything with economy that had a ticket on it. So a Salamental, a Cat, a Tidehunter, a
All
Tavern
right.
Tempest. Now, because the buddy makes it's basically Hogger for tickets. Whenever you buy a ticket minion, you get 1 gold back, which means that effectively every ticket minion is now economy.
It is a tier
So
4. Holy moly.
yeah,
Damn.
Collins is like he's not. He's just like I can't believe it's tier 4.
Oh
Poison.
my god. Why? What the- okay.
Collins
All right.
can't understand
All
it.
right. All right. Moving on. Yes. You're talking about the Silas and the tickets. I'm
Well,
listening. I'm listening.
I'm saying that you're essential. So one of the things that used to be very good with Silas is get a Hogger, because then every single pirate with a ticket on it was really nice because it was super cheap, and you got the fish for more Hogger. You got the fish for either maybe Mama Bears or whatever on tier 5. So it feels like if you can get to tier 5 with Silas, you can just buy every single minion with a ticket on it, and you can really just look for, you can like brand, you can get your second Hogger, etc., etc. So this, like I've played with him and it felt really good, where you just buy every ticket the moment you have the buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't played Silas, but I think it's busted just because of my opponents. I guess because I find Silas and I'm just like, how did they get this right? And I'm like, oh, okay, they're on tier 6. I guess they took all the Amalgadons in the pool. Okay, I don't have a chance anymore. I lost with Ticketus. With the nuts Ticketus board to a Silas because they had of like 4 Amalgadons, and then ghouls, the selfless, and I thought I had no chance to lose. But no, I just got killed, and I was just like,
Do
huh.
you still have your brand?
Yeah, on the board probably. I didn't think I was gonna lose. I was like, oh, this. I have a 1,000 HP minions, with divine shields. All of them, everything has. I thought she would win that lobby.
No.
I got third. I
Um,
was like, what happened this game?
on my channel, we call that the Collins All In, right? With the brand still on the board.
Yeah, of
It's the
course I
Collins
had
All In.
Brand. Of course. What did you mean?
Brand is a valued member of the team. I'm
Dude,
not kicking him,
I
okay?
gave it Divine Shield. What more do you want? Like it has Divine Shield, Wind Fury. Like come on, it has stats. I was shocked, but yeah, I think Silas is
Yeah.
really good. I haven't got to play him yet, but I do think he, if played correctly, right, you get so much strong minions. You get so much. You can get so many tier 6s, so many tier 5s if you want, and if you get the golden buddy, right, a lot of those late game heroes really rely on that golden buddy activation. But if you get that golden buddy, it's so strong, right? It's basically infinite gold if you get the right shops because you're getting 2 gold back, and every time you buy 3, you get a gold essentially, and you're the things you can buy can give you gold, so it's so much economy there. So I actually think that's a bit broken. I mean, there's a lot of things that are a bit broken, and a bit is generous, right? So yeah, Silas OP. Simvala I think is good, but I do think the nerf made her not OP. I think if the nerf was if the nerf wasn't in already, I think Simvala would be like the same as Silas and like, this is too strong. You go to 6 immediately and bam, you can play anything you want. You're getting dongs for free, little rags, boom. But they kind of saw that coming, so it's cool to see that they have the ability, and then they nerfed it previously. So now I think you are reliant on either getting lucky with a Nomi early, or you're reliant on hitting the reroll for super economy and then leveling to 6 and playing like double little rag or something. So um, the later you can stay with a Shambhala, the more likely you are to win. But you also still have to be mindful of the heroes that can just blow you out of the game if they hit the late game. So it's not shoe win. There's so many strong late game heroes that even if you are doing well, you can just fight a Silas with 6 dongs and you're like, okay, well, I guess I lose. And as long as there's a ton of other heroes that can do that too. So
Yeah, I can't imagine that you get to go, like, that it turns into a golden auger essentially, right? I can't imagine that it stays that way.
Yeah, I mean,
That seems pretty
there's a lot of heroes where I'm thinking, oh, I can't imagine this last, and then the patch came, and I was like, oh, yes, Illidan is the only problem. I agree. It's Maleficent. That's the one everyone's complaining about. Which it was kind of, people were complaining about Maleficent. Like no one's complaining about her anymore, right? It's just completely gone. So, they're taking it somewhat slow. I thought they would be a little bit faster, right? But um, they have targeted things that needed adjustments, right? Like they didn't target everything that needed adjustment, but the things they have targeted have needed adjustments. So as long as they keep doing that, it should be better patch over patch. So there's just like a lot of pain points right now in these heroes where it's like this isn't fair, this isn't fair, this isn't fair. Like it's just like since we're playing every day, we have too much points, or like we have too many examples of this is a problem, this is a problem, so change it now. But they're like slowly doing it week over, right? They're like, oh yeah, the stats say this, right? But we're like living through it, so it's more painful, but pretty interesting. Anyways, what else do we have here? I believe new buddies. Oh, these are the buddies. So I kind of already had the pictures already, but the golden buddies are kind of what you imagine. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this pack. Oh, right, the cosmetics. So that is a good another cool topic. So I wanted to talk about the cosmetics because they did something really interesting this time, and I thought it was actually brilliant. Whoever thought about doing this made so much sense to do this. But they've added some cosmetics and finishers, some new skins. But what they did that I thought was really, really cool was they sent it to the streamers. It's like, oh, hey, streamer, are you a streamer that we like or something? Here, have some that plays Battlegrounds. Have the cosmetics early, the finishers early that no one else can get. It's so smart because like you go in the lobbies, right? You see a streamer, you're like, oh, it's a streamer, da da da, and then the streamer kills you with a cool finisher. You're like, how do you get that? How immediately I'd be like, how do I get this stuff? And then it's like, I can't get it. So true. It's like, oh wow, I can't even get it right now. So as soon as it comes out, it's like, damn, I want it. Like, so it's actually so. I think it's genius marketing here. Whoever decided to do it like that, very smart of them. But yeah, pretty cool to have that kind of animations, right? The skins and whatever I don't think are as interesting as the finisher itself, just because first of all there's no finishers in the game yet, so this one's new, it's shiny, and legit you're only being killed by like people it's like it's actually annoying. Like I lose to another streamer and they're hitting me with the finisher. I'm like, come on, come on, man. but then I'm like doing to other people, and I'm like, this must be so annoying to get killed by me. And it's also very likely like the streamers are pretty good, right? So you're gonna be seeing the finishers because they're killing people. So it works out, right? You can give a streamer you can give the finisher to someone, and if they go eighth every other game, it's like, well, I never saw it, right? but you're actually getting killed by people who would kill you generally, right? Because they're pretty high on the leaderboard. So I just thought it was genius marketing. But yeah, what's your thoughts on it personally?
No, I mean, as a streamer, obviously, right? It's fun, it's great, and I think it builds some hype. Whereas I can actually say you can't get this yet. It'll be available February 22nd.
Yeah, February 22nd. Yeah.
So it's not in the, oh, I can get it tomorrow, but it's not like, oh, it's too far away for me to get excited about it. So
yeah, the fact that it's like not like immediately tomorrow that everyone has it is actually quite good, because it builds up that like, oh man, I actually can't get it for a while. Like they're gonna kill me with this for a while. So yeah, I think it was well done here. I don't know. It's weird for you to say, but yeah, good job on this one. Like, if I didn't have the finisher, I would be like, oh, I kind of want it. Like, so that's pretty cool. Because normally I don't really care about the skins too much. I'm not really a big skin person. Like, I have the normal skins for a lot of the heroes I play. Like, I don't care. I changed it to the new skins for these heroes just because, like, you know, I don't know. I felt like I should.
Yeah,
and there was a
some of them are really pretty.
yes. I think the cat is super good. The Ysera one is amazing. That and Yogg is I haven't played Yogg, but the Yogg one is also pretty cool because I like Yogg. Yeah. So there's quite a number of really cool ones that I particularly liked. As well as the bartender. The bartender I think doesn't matter as much because you can only see it if you're watching the person's stream, and it also talks a lot. I don't have a like my sound is muted, but I've watched other people play it.
Oh, right, no.
Yeah, and I'm just like, damn, does he talk that much? It's like every roll. It's like, oh, it's on the sound clip, which is quite a lot. So that is maybe something they could tone down. But other than that, I think it's been pretty
Yeah, for sure. Cool stuff.
cool stuff. Yeah, moving on, we've got just a little meta discussion, I think, for us. So we had the death itself kind of say something about Ticketus Buddy, where gets infinite gold, infinite stats, infinite divine shields, multiple ice blocks. Right, definitely busted. We kind of addressed this a little bit last week, where I was kind of like, do it once. That was like, if there was a clip, like just do it once with Brand. But yeah, they're deciding on, I think, fixing it or changing it by removing raise the stakes. And he's kind of saying that won't really be a good enough fix for Ticketus, right? There'll still be broken things, which I generally agree. He also, to full disclosure, he had a little bit more to say, just kind of like they need more playtesting overall. But generally, I do think this is a good like jumping off point, not for Ticketed itself, but like just a broader meta, Ticketus included, in some of the balancing with the buddy, some of the balancing with the meta, and how you're like, this hero, feels really good, and this hero feels really bad, and some of the thoughts about that.
Yeah, we talked about it a bit before, where I think it's just a normal byproduct if you're going to introduce a whole new card, and in a lot of cases, it's a very, very impactful mechanic for every hero.
Yeah,
That's just
78.
yeah, that's like if you think you can introduce that many variables into your game and everything's going to be balanced, yeah, good luck with that. It's just this is just sort of, I mean, maybe there is a game developer that publishes that every time and it's like, oh, it's perfectly balanced, nice, it's perfect, like nothing wrong. We just like introduced like 80 plus cards, like, but like there's no crazy or silly interactions. Now, does that mean we don't have to do anything about it? Of course not, right? Like there, but I think this is a process where we're just going to see interactions that shouldn't happen, and then from there on, we continue to fix things. But it's always going to be that struggle where there's going to be high MMR play, and there's going to be some things that, like for instance, I feel like Shutterwalk when it was introduced, that was really bad on high MMR, right? Old
Yeah.
Shutterwalk, hero power cost 0. And whereas lower MMR is like, it's kind of fun, like you stack Battlecries the whole
Yeah,
game, and
it's so
then you let it
funny.
rip, and it's fun. It's like, no, you make a bunch of 6 drop really early. So yeah, that was the my initial take is that it's going to take a while, and I think it's normal that there's busted things. But maybe you could talk a little bit about Brand, because I think he is sort of the culprit. Where I don't want to get rid of Brand, don't get me wrong, but he enables a lot of the bullshit right now.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff with Brand and Buddy Battlecry buddies, I think, are too strong together. I did try to mention like have a new mechanic for Battlecries that doesn't interact with Brand, like Buddy Cry or something. I don't care what the name is, right? But where you can't just like get these abusive synergies because you have I have a brand, so I won. Like it's like that easy. I've seen people roll it down 20 gold over 2 turns, like just today, looking for a
That's the right
brand.
play with Ticketus,
Yeah,
right? That's
it
the
is
right
the
play.
right play. I know but it's so dumb. Like, this just roll it down for a brand because if you get it, you win. Like, it's so silly that it kind of boils down that the whole meta game to like, oh yeah, just roll for a brand. Like, you get a brand this early, you win. Like, it's same thing with Galacron, right? Like, oh yeah, just get a 40-40 stat line like pretty easily.
Gallywix, yeah.
Gallywix, yeah, same. Yeah, they're the same hero to me, but in
I was
terms of
just pointing it out, just clarifying that Galacron is actually a hero. So,
sure.
they're Galacrons, but the hands.
Warcry, yeah, something like Warcry actually sounds pretty reasonable. But it's just true, right? There's so many. It's so hard to. There's so many buddies. There's so many mechanics that were been added. That buddies change. It's hard to have everything perfect, but it does kind of lead to there are a lot of like noticeable heroes that are problematic right now in the game, and it's kind of like a lot of these games. If I have like any of the heroes here and the screen on top four, I'm like, well, can't win. It's like can't win. Guess I'm playing for second or third. Third if I fight him early enough. Well, maybe not Queen Whack Toggle, but Queen Whack Toggle is its own discussion in terms of like how she plays compared to everything else. But there's a lot of heroes where their late game is just so nuts compared to anything else. It just feels wrong. Like I there's almost nothing I can do playing some of these other like fairer heroes to compete with what they can pull out. Like a Barov's tier 6 turn 6, like okay, like I'm what am I doing? This Gallywix in the late game like gets 30 gold a turn. Okay, I mean, what am I doing? Silas just gets all the Amalgadons. Ticketus just has 100,000 health minions with Divine Shield Wind Fury. Like, okay. you know, Vol'jin just has poison on everything and kills every minion you have. Like, and they have resets if they're playing Deflectos or they have cleaves. It's just so hard. Finley can do super stupid things because they can abuse tier 4 units and they also get an extra gold every time. So you can just get like tier 4 comps. I mean, tier 4 buddies super early, and then you also have the extra gold advantage as well. So it's not even just like I can abuse tier 4 buddies. It's also I get extra gold every time I get my buddy compared to other heroes of the same quality. So I'm just a better version of you a lot of the time, especially since they moved a lot of the tier 2 buddies that you wanted to play up to tier 3. It doesn't feel as bad to play Finley anymore. Yeah, I thought before Finley was a bit rough because it's like, there's so many tier 4, but tier 3, tier 2 buddies that I want to use, but Finley can't really use them. Well, now it's like, well, they're all tier 3 now, so it's not really an issue. And all the good tier 3 buddies are now tier 4. So now when I get Finley, I get a buddy that used to be tier 3. It's tier 4 now, but now I get to play it normally. So just feels really good. Brucon, I think, is an interesting ad because I don't think Brucon is particularly busted, but some of the interactions with Brucon are super toxic, and there are some games where like only Brucon can win this game or can win this fight because of what the buddy can do, especially like with Barons and stuff like that. You can just like remove all your shields, cleave, and then cleave again or something like that, and it's just like, well, only Brucon would have won this here. There's no other hero that can really do that kind of thing. So I do think Brucon needs a special mention. Kungrad Kago as well. The tier 1 strategy is super safe if the right minions are in. It's just so safe. You're getting top 3 pretty much all the time. It's hard to be bottom 4. I would say with the right setup with Queen Raktago. So a lot of people will play that, but then the issue is that having a whack target in your lobby changes the dynamic of the lobby. Because you have this hero that's tier 1, it's not going to hit you for too much. You see people greeting harder, leveling quicker, and getting these abusive comps, right? Ticketus survives that extra turn because, turn 11, fighting a wag toggle. I'm not taking 15, I won. It just changes the dynamic of the lobby because of how the hero plays. So I do think it's it's a necessary conversation to have as is this like good or healthy or whatever. I don't hate the hero, and I do understand this hero's been bad forever, but it's just like how it's being played, and as well as the buddy itself is problematic because when people steal that buddy, things break completely. As soon as that buddy gets stolen, things just go out super wonky. And since it's a popular, relatively popular hero, I just have these games where I'm just like, oh, this test took it. Oh, the scabs took it. Oh, infinite gold immediately, and I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? Like the way the buddy interacts is so weird because it's so open ended that if other heroes get it and if dragons are in other heroes get it, the game breaks in such a freaky way.
Yeah, it would probably be best if the text was just proc whack toggles hero power whenever you play a
Yeah,
minion.
I think so too, right? I
Yeah,
don't think it needs to be so
because you have so many other buddies that
or so
very
specific. Yeah,
specifically,
yeah.
yeah, they have the name of the hero power in there, where you say like, okay, yeah. Either way, it's not something that it's part of. At least, if we assume that we want to avoid these clown fiestas, maybe this is part of what Blizzard wants, right? You have to go from the right assumption. Where it's like, hey, clown fiestas are fun, right? Remember that one epic time where you stole the wag toggle buddy on the
See,
scabs,
the
and
the problem is it's my opponents, so it's not me.
yeah,
I
and it's
so
the
I'm
third one today, right? So
yeah.
it's just like, yeah, if you play all day and people know what they're doing, then they're gonna be on the lookout for it. So it's gonna happen. And as you mentioned, whack toggle was very popular. Like the funny thing is for me, when like I kind of look forward to playing whack toggle like once every day because
Because it's a
we
free game. I agree. It's like
yeah,
I get to
well
rest. Oh, that's me.
because no, that's true, but because it's so slow paced, we just do Wordle together on stream with the chat, right?
Oh,
Because
dear. Okay.
I play my turn and I have 80 seconds left, right? So then we just do Wordle. So it's yeah, I think that speaks to how much brain power is involved playing that era. Is just roll for my elemental, roll for my anomaly, and then that's it. Pretty much. It's like, oh, am I tripling? Am I going for this elemental? Am I ever go like? Actually, one of the things I have been doing with Wacto, which has been effective, is I've been trying to triple into a whelp smuggler, and then you just
Yes, for
pump
the
it.
dragon.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I've
it
done that
feels
a
good. The
couple of times.
crumbling
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
so much HP. But that's about it, right? That's all the fancy
yeah.
schmancy
I
stuff.
did something where I went for double with the demon, the double trickster, double golden trickster. Yeah, yeah. Because I was like, one. Sometimes it's the last one alive. Let's go double trickster. Da da da. The issue is the late game. It's just like I'm too clogged. All right, I still need
Yeah,
I
you
still
want the
need
self
space.
off,
Yeah, I got board locked as soon as I added the selfless, and then like the tricksters are smaller, so it doesn't feel as good. I think just sticking to one trickster is probably fine. So
yeah.
but I wanted to test something out. Try. Oh, let's
It's got to be
experiment.
something more to this hero. Nope. Go cards. Yep.
Yep,
Play elemental.
yep,
Yep.
yep. Pretty much.
Yeah. I think the consensus here, or like the overall feeling, is that there are the cap, right? The roof, the ceiling. It's too high right now.
Yeah.
There's too many ridiculous. So to give you an example of today, I had I don't even remember what I was playing, but I was playing a hero, and I was just doing all right. I had some big Fernals, I had a Wrathweaver, I was making huge stats, and then I come up against the Vol'jin, and because I know the Vol'jin had a golden Chroma Wing, I know that no amount of stats on any of my
I
units
know.
is going to make any
I
difference.
know. It's so
So
sad.
I sold all my big minions to play 2 jugglers and a Void Lord, and that kept me alive. Which,
See,
on one hand,
I would have died.
yeah, but I would rather die. It got me top 4. So if you want to talk about adapting, that was a good moment, but it's so dumb, right? That I looked at my 40-40 big Fernal, and I'm just like, yeah, this is not better than a juggler. Get it out of here. Like, oh no, I was playing Hook Dusk and I hero powered it to try and get a juggler. That's what happened. So yeah, crazy. It's just really, really like I think Vol'jin is very problematic.
Yeah,
Uh,
I would say, I mean, every hero I have here, except for like, I'm not that biased against Brucon. I actually don't mind Whack Talk that much personally, but the rest of them, I would say, get change them in some way, right? You could change Vol'jin where it only targets one instead of like it targets both, so it'd be a lot slower to get every that huge. I mean, it'd still be problematic, but it'd be like that Illidan treatment where it would be a lot slower to get everything permanent.
it's just the like look, it on its own it would be considerable if chromoing wasn't a card,
Yeah,
right? But I
yeah,
feel
yeah,
because chromoing is a card, it's literally poison.
yeah. It's
You,
poison.
you can poison any like we've been talking about like, oh wow, imagine if you could put poison on a hydra. Lol, right? That's for years that people have been saying, lol, poison hydra. Like Fulgent can do it.
Yeah,
He can
Vol'jin
make
does it.
poison hydras. Like that's not okay.
It's
So
it's not. I agree. I don't think that would fix Vol'jin, but you know,
so it's just that the problem is that you can reach almost unlimited attack with some of the mechanics they've made, and now they've like, well, I just copy the attack. So yeah, some crazy stuff. So I do hope that we see. It's maybe not even a balance patch. It's just like a cleaning house patch. We're like, all right, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Let's fix the bullshit.
I'm just
Uh,
scared. I always tell you I'm scared, man. Like the track record, it scares me. I'm just worried they're just gonna be like, you know what, Ticketus, raise the
Stats indicate it's
stakes.
fine. Yeah.
Raise the
Stats
stakes is
indicate it's
the only
fine.
problem about Ticketus. All right.
Well, no. I do think that I read as well that they are going to limit it to one ice block as well.
Wow, that's gonna solve everything. I mean, come on.
Well, to be
Yeah.
fair, I see a good amount of Ticketus players dying pre
Yes,
12.
sure. That's true. Like,
So that is there. So once we remove raise the stakes, once again, I'm not saying it's going to be okay, the kind of shit you're still going to be able to pull off, especially if you have a golden brand, right? If you have a golden brand ready to go when you hit turn 12, it's not going to be pretty for the rest of the lobby. But without raise the stakes, it's not an insta win already. So then you go from dying pre 12 to also not immediately winning every lobby. So stats wise, it is going to probably look
yeah.
a
It it
lot
it,
better.
it already looks bad. Like if you look at like I this is why I love not trusting the HS replay stats because it's so disingenuous right now. If you look at the stats, you're like, oh, this hero is like near the bottom, and this hero is like actually super good. Like Ticketus is like very near the bottom, but he's actually quite playable. Same thing with a
Yeah.
lot of the other like
Well,
weird
if
heroes.
you tell a skilled player, hey,
It's
if
the
you
shutter walk.
live,
There's so many shutter walks
yes,
in this. Yeah, that's true. There's so many shutter walks in this
it's a very
meta.
distinct play style.
Yeah.
You need to be ready for it, and if you're not willing, like yeah, I honestly I have a lot of good Shutterwalk games.
Yeah. I mean,
Still, even still, like it's like yeah, I mean making triples out of tokens is good.
yeah, like I play Jandis, It's like, oh, I just won the lobby because I got the
Yeah, make a triple.
Khadgar Mama Bear. Like, okay, well,
Yeah,
I guess I won.
exactly.
Like, it's like didn't even need the money.
It's so insane. You get these huge cats.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, it's yeah. So lots of crazy things that are possible right now. So we would like to see that cleaned up in the future.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting the meta right now. Not balanced. There's a lot of crazy heroes, and also I guess on the flip side, there's also quite a bit of bad heroes. Right? I've always been a proponent of saying remove the bad heroes. Like if you're bad for a long time, just I don't want to see you in the lobbies. It'd be it'd be easier for me if I didn't have to be like, oh, I hate all four hero choices. But that happens every stream pretty much. There's gonna be games where I'm just like, well, I'm bottom four already because of the hero choice, and that always feels really bad to me. But it's hard to fix these heroes. But if you've been trying for a while and it's like it's not working, then remove them. Come back later. Maybe have a fresh eye on what to do. Maybe change the hero. We've done that with like Mukla, and Mukla's now pretty good, pretty fun to play. That kind of thing. There's definitely times they've done that correctly, but sometimes you have to just say, these heroes, they're not it. Let's remove them. So that's my
That's true. I think they really did a nice, like especially the buddy for Mukla. It feels good but not oppressive. Like
yeah,
really,
yeah,
like
yeah,
clean. That's a good example. Mukla is a really nice one.
yeah. The Especially with Mukla, like it's hard. Like I think Mukla is good, but like you give everyone a banana, so it fixes all of their buddies. Like buddy meteors, you're never gonna have a 99% if there's a Mukla in the lobby because you're getting a banana every turn. It's gonna fix it. So it's hard to say, oh, Mukla's broken, but you're fixing all your opponent's buddies. Like it's it's too much of a drawback to say, oh yeah, Mukla's good. There's just too much. There's too much there. So that is our thoughts on the meta. I like to be fair, like the meta's still fun. I'm enjoying it. I know some people aren't, but once again, I'm also doing well, so I'm biased, 100%, right? But
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the meta still. Like I want to play. There'll be days where I'm just like, I've played enough, and then like I'll do something else for like an hour, and I'm like, I could play another game. I'll play
One more
one
play,
before
right?
I sleep. Maybe it's rough, but yeah, I've been enjoying them, and I do think they've done a good job overall. There's just a lot of like issues, or noted like very blatant, like here is a problem, here is a problem, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And but if you want to have this big of a change, this big of a shakeup, I think that's just collateral that comes with it. Like as long as we identify that, then we can move forward. Like I don't want to play another, you know, 4 months of Vol'jin having access to Chromo with the same buddy, right? That's just it's so tedious. It's just like
Yeah.
matching up against Vol'jin and realizing, well, none of these numbers on any of my minions matter. None of them. It just
Yeah.
matters. Do my minions have shield? Do my minions have reborn? That's the only thing that matters. Like a gas coiler can be better than a perfect dong against Vol'jin. Just because it
That's a
makes some
sad
joke.
thing to say, but yeah, it's true.
Yeah, just like perfect dong, throw that. No spores, unplayable. Throw that shit out of here. Give me the coiler.
Don't tell me that. I don't want to hear it.
It's true though,
I
man.
don't want to hear it. All right, moving on. We will be talking about lobby legends. I think this is a really important section, especially for all you competitors out there. But I mean, that's honestly it's a small percentage of the player base that's really like, oh yeah, let me like the people that are already in that spot, they already know, right? But for everyone else that wants to, watch and stuff, I do think it's good to talk about it. So we have Lobby Legends going to be taking place April 2nd to 3rd. So that's the first one. It's been confirmed there will be more than one, right? So, but the first one's going to be April 2nd to 3rd. So, first Battleground event of the year, Lobby Legends Raid Leaders coming, YouTube or Twitch. So, 16 players from around the world face off for a $50,000 prize pool. So, you have to qualify in their respective regional ladders by the end of February. I do think that's pretty important just to address here. So if you wanted to compete and you play like let's say you're Japanese, you're playing NA, right? That might not be the respective regional ladder for you. So you might not qualify through the NA ladder, even though there's a lot of like really strong Japanese players here. And they're a high leaderboard too. I don't think that they would be representing NA because it's not their region. But you do have to be top 16 in the ladder for Americas, Asia Pacific, and Europe. And that will earn invites for a 48-player qualifying tournament to be held on March 14th. China has its own system where I believe it's top 32 for them, and then they'll play in their own separate tournament to create their four participants. So at the end of the qualifier, it'll be the top 12 players. I don't think it's going to be four from each region, right? I don't know if they're clear. They've been clear on that, but I don't think it's four from every region. I just think it's the top 12 in the tournament. So that is a little bit weird, where you might like have a group. It actually might be top four for each region, but I actually don't know. So that one is not super clear. If you know, then feel free to correct me. Anyone as well. Come on. That's so rough. Come on. Damn, dude. If that happens, dude, I'll say you called it. But holy, that's not happening.
No,
Uh,
so for anyone just listening, wondering what we're cracking up about, I just wrote in the chat. So it's going to be 11 EU players in Collins, right?
yeah, in the PDF, it's clear that it's just the top 12, not four from regions. Okay, so it will just be the best 12 players in that qualifier. So yeah, you might just see whole regions being excluded, which is going to be rough. But hopefully, there's enough strong players in each region to make it to the top 12. And then you'll have the four from China. So China's always getting four. That's something. Is that fair? Some question marks. In addition to
Well, they saw how the global games went. These guys stay on one, man. I don't want anything to do with that. We're having our own proper tournament for people level on two. Yeah.
Yeah. In addition to official tournament broadcasts, all the players will be able to stream, so they'll be able to co-stream. I believe it's a 30-minute delay though, so that's the one thing to recognize. Even though we will be streaming, there won't be really much interaction because it's going to be such a huge delay. So.
Well, let's be honest. If you're playing with
Yeah,
that much
I know.
you're not going to be talking to chat anyway. Right?
Some streamers do, right? Like I know there are some streamers that don't, they always talk, right? Like always talk with their chat about stuff. But I personally don't when it comes to tournaments. But I know there are some people that are like, 3-minute delay, that sucks. So that is something to be aware of. So the other cool thing is the second Battlegrounds lobby is scheduled for May. So they've already confirmed, hey, this is not a one-time thing. We'll be doing more of these. And the latter qualifying period will be the end of March. So right now, the end of February is this tournament's qualifying period, but the next one will be the end of March. So that's actually recent. So you do have to keep in mind, be aware of that. So always be paying attention, especially near the end of the season, to be like, can I get there? Can I climb enough? So, and they'll be breaking down the format, qualifying lobbies, all that blah blah blah. On the esports Twitter. But our good friend Lee HS has kind of talked about the format already, so I do have information regarding the qualifiers for this particular one coming up. So it'll be the top 16 of Americas, Asia Pacific, EU, end of February 2022. It's a virtual event, so we're not going to be flown out or something like that. First is 7th, 6th is 5th. So it's pretty clean. It's not there's no extra point for first, right? That's something very
that
noticeable.
creates its own meta game, right?
Yeah.
Where you get third place in a tournament. Ooh,
that's pretty good. Yeah.
That's good. You get third on ladder, you're like, I'll take it away. I don't want it. So yeah, that does change certain plays. Like for instance, just going tempo beast. Oh, that's so good.
That's going to be really good. Yeah.
You play Mama Bear, you play Crocodile, like you're top fouring that, unless you get super unlucky. So it's you don't have to take those huge risks where you have to push 6. You got to get the brand. You got to do the primal fin. You got to do the Amalgadon transition. Something where you might be more inclined to take those risks on ladder because, well, first of all, you're fighting people, generally speaking, a little bit weaker, but you also need first.
The comment wag toggle tournament meta is so true. It's so true. Yeah. Disgusting.
Well, on the other hand, if you play in a lobby where everyone is so good, the chance that you don't make it on wag toggle is higher, especially if Murlocs are in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But if it's like Beast Murloc out, it's
Murloc
like
out.
Yeah.
Good luck, everyone.
Yeah. Good luck.
Wag toggle's getting top 4.
Yeah. So
no max, no 7. Good luck.
I do think the placement points already is a big meta game shift in like how you play. Like ladder play is gonna be very different. Like playing on ladder and like is not good. You're not gonna perform as well if you just play on ladder on this tournament, because top four is actually quite important. Where in these games, like in ladder, sometimes like top three is like, I wasted, I didn't do anything this game. Like, but here it's like, oh, I got fifth. Like that's 5 points. That's like, if you get that twice, right, and the other person gets first and eighth, you're ahead, right? And that's very different.
Third twice, you mean?
Yeah, third twice, yeah, and the other gets first and eighth, you're ahead, and that's very different. There's a lot of tournaments where if you got first and eighth, you're actually ahead of the person that got third twice.
You're doing better,
Yeah,
because
so
most tournaments have this double point bonus. Well, not double, right? But it's a bigger jump.
Yeah,
it's a bigger jump from second to first. Than from
yeah. So that's quite important. I would say just in how to play this. Tiebreakers do count, so that's pretty good, right? It's not going to feel horrible to like just be lower. You're playing Lich Rizal or something, and you got knocked out. Like the ties.
That always feels like such bullshit. Where 3 people go out on the same turn, but you're sixth and the other guy is
fourth. I know it's so BS. I agree.
Huge difference.
Yeah, so I do like the tiebreakers are in. There's going to be 6 rounds. So this is a qualifier. So the first one will be 6 lobbies with 3 games. So you're playing 3 games, and then then it goes to 3 lobbies. So they're cutting. So it's top 4 that survives. So I think that's kind of nice. The top 4 make it in, and then it's going to be 3 lobbies with 3 games. And I believe top 4 of that also makes it in. So that's you'll get 12 right from that. So yeah, it's actually not as brutal as some of the other tournaments that we've participated in, where it's like top 2 you make it in, or like, yo, it's just the first player this lobby will get in. It's like, yeah, you actually get it's not as cutthroat, but and also since the points are pretty like, they're not as high rolly. Like if you're getting second, third, that feels good. So it should be consistency during a lot of work, right? It's like avoiding
my kind of tournament.
Yeah, it's definitely your kind of tournament for sure.
I gotta qualify. Small detail, yeah, but, if I were to qualify, I'd be good.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty good. I do think for the Lobby Legends tournament, it's actually very interesting. I do think I want to talk about it. 16 players. First round is 3 games to top 4 cutoff, right? So first round is just like the previous round, where it's same point system, same tiebreaker rules, same rounds, 3 rounds. But the second round is a check format. And I think in Hearthstone, this isn't a very common format, I would say, for tournaments. They do it in Storybook Brawl quite a bit. That's where I've seen it, but I do want to talk about the check format in particular. So check format, once the players accumulate 20 or more points at the end of the game, they put the lobby in check. So you got first for 7 for first, right? So I think first thing off, right, in order to put the lobby in check, you gotta be like first, second to do it in 3 games. So it's gonna be longer. It's gonna be a longer second round, just straight off the bat, unless the player is nutty. Even if they're nutty, they're still doing it in 4 games. So the final lobbies can be quite long if things go wrong or something. But once the first player accumulates 20 or more points, they put that lobby in check, and the player can only win the tournament if they finish first after they put a lobby in check. So they have to put the lobby in check by getting 20 points, and then after that they have to win the lobby afterwards. So it's a different format. I just want to repeat that again, make sure it's clear how it works. You need to first win a couple games, get a lot of points, right? People will be accumulating points. Once you hit 20 points, you put that lobby in check. So once you hit 20, now you have the opportunity to win, right? So winning like the first couple games, it's cool and all, but you need to hit that 20 break point. Then you have the opportunity to win. Then once you hit the 20 break point, then you need to win the lobby to end the tournament. If you don't win the lobby after that, you don't win. You don't end the tournament. The tournament keeps going until someone who has 20 more points wins the lobby. So you have to get first. Like at the end, you have you can't win the lobby unless you can't win the tournament unless you win the lobby at the end of the game.
So 3 whack toggles into a ticket. That's what we're
Something
doing.
like that,
Yeah.
but even you need 4 whack toggles, right? Because let's say you get second every time, that's 6 points, right? So you'll get 18 points. Then the fourth game you'll get 20. Then you put it in check. Then you need a ticketus to win the lobby. So it's pretty interesting because it means that it's open ended in that how many rounds are there? I don't know. I don't know, dude.
It'd be so funny if there's like one person that doesn't have 20 yet and they win the last lobby. You're like, oh, come on. Like, we go again.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible. So it could be a long second round, but you don't need the most points to win, right? That's another thing to be aware of, right? You just need to win the lobby with enough points, and then I believe the rest of the breakdown will be the point structure. Like whoever is highest will get second place, right? Essentially, but you don't necessarily need to be the most consistent or whatever. You just have to be able to win at the end, essentially. You gotta have that stamina. So it is a different format. I wonder how it will go, right? They are kind of experimenting right now, so it's not super clear that this will be like a constant format going forward, but it is interesting they're willing to try something different because pretty much never seen this format in Battlegrounds tournaments, I would say, that I've played in or even spectated or anything. So I wonder how it's going to go, but it sounds cool. It is kind of... I do worse the later the tournament goes, so it's not good for me, I think. But I'll see what I can do if I make it. So, and so that's something I just want to be super clear on that. Other miscellaneous things, you can use deck tracking software because it's hard to track. You can make handwritten notes, but who really does that? That's more for like constructed. That's a constructed
I
thing.
feel like that's just copy paste.
Yeah, copy paste.
Do that unconstructed. Just write down like this guy started Alley Cats. This guy started Tide Hunter. It's just.
Man. You'll be able to stream, so that co-streams are okay. They're also thinking about adding people that are not in this tournament being able to stream. So let's say, me or you don't make it in. It's very possible we'll be able to co-stream it ourselves, even though we're not participating. So that's pretty cool, really generous of them. They don't always do that, so I think that's cool. And a lot of the other streamers that aren't necessarily going to shoot for Lobby Legends, right? Being able to talk about the games and stuff like that, it's really hype to talk about those tournaments with your chat. So I really like that. And you can't have people spectate your match, so no like co-ops during the tournament. And speaking of co-ops, they said I don't have a screenshot, but they said you weren't able to co-op 5 days before the finish. So like
Which
me
feels
and
very arbitrary.
It is, but that is I believe that's also from Constructed as well, where that's just something they did for lobby finishes or something.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like they want to allow people with their friends and just have fun. But then once the thing is, I feel like for standard, there's a lot more last minute pushing.
Yeah, well, this is the first time we've done this. We don't even know what the last minute pushing looks like, right?
That's true. That's true. But I would say that the
top four already shoot in to make it in. Like, no, I don't agree. I don't agree.
The difference is usually bigger, I think, in Battlegrounds between the first player, the second player, the third player, the fourth player. I feels like in ranked standard, it's like, oh, I won the one game and I jumped, right? That's not the case always, of course, but it feels like the difference, the distance in between them is usually bigger. Now it might be that this is the first very competitive season, and we're going to see very, very close finish, right? But if we just look at the leaderboards from the previous finishes, right? You look at the number 1, you look at number 16. Wow, this is just
It's
a different
huge.
world.
It is.
We're talking several thousand MMR in between. Right? It's not something you'll be able to bridge in a week, right? Like you play a week nonstop, it's very unlikely you're going to be able to catch, that. So
Maybe if you were the first guy, the first player, like you
yeah,
could.
okay, if you were as good, like let's just say like last season for EU, I think it was XQN Senior Health who were fighting first and second, and I think NA you had Peter who was first for a while. I don't know who actually finished, but yeah, like the difference between the first and second usually who are pushing each other, and then like you go further down, even like number 7 or number 8, it feels like they're not even playing the same game anymore.
Yeah, there are definitely gaps, but we'll see if that like gets cleaned up this season, right? Because it's the only season where people like there's a real reason to like push hard. So we'll see if it gets cleaned up, if it's a lot closer at the end. I've definitely seen in other games where like the cutoff bracket, it's like so neck tight where there's like 4 people like just like half a game off, half a MMR off, and it's just like damn, dude, it's so rough.
But it'll be a lot more camping, that's for sure. People will
maybe yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess if you're not a streamer, right? Like the streamers are like, I'll just play, but
no, I mean, if you are secure and you don't have to play, you play on a different account or something. Like let's say
that's what I'm hearing, and you're telling me, and I hear it. I'm like, that makes sense.
It's the last day, you're rank 15. All right, let's like you might say, let's queue up maybe one game to create a bigger gap just to make sure. But for the most part, what happens is because I've played for finishes as well on the ladder, and you're essentially just looking at the rank the whole time and saying, does it hold? And you're just staring at it.
That's so scary.
Yeah, no, have fun, right? Like part of me hopes that I'm not in contention, because that means you're staying up till midnight. You're staring at the rank the whole time, and you see if somebody overtakes you, you have to play. Right? Or you can take the risk and just push hard and say, okay, I'm going to create enough distance that I don't have to do that.
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
I hope that's you. If you are rank 14, 15, 16, good luck. That's staying up till midnight, watching the rank the whole time and saying, do I have to play? Do I not have to play? This guy played. He lost him. I have a bigger lead now. That's good. That's that energy. That's
scary. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I hope you have a comfortable lead that you're just chilling and you don't have to queue in midnight.
Yeah. So. Well, yeah. I mean, for the players that are competing, I do think, hopefully it's not stressful as much as it can be, and you get there. So overall, in terms of the format, I think it's an interesting format. I haven't played this particular format, so it's hard to judge whether it's good or bad. I think if I make it after I play, it'll be easier to judge. And also if I don't make it, if just watching it, it's also going to be easier to judge. But I'm happy they're trying different things, right? It's cool to see new ways of playing tournaments. And if it's good, maybe more tournaments will adapt to it and it'll be like more of a standard. But right now, I haven't played in a tournament for Battlegrounds like this, so we'll see how it turns out. And then I believe the last little thing we wanted to talk about, maybe not a little thing, is just some of the like community concerns, because I was reading after the announcement, some people, some streamers and stuff, they just had like concerns about, what about this, what about that. I do think it makes sense to kind of address some of these concerns, at least our opinions on some of these things, because I was a little confused personally with some of the concerns. So one that jumped out to me, it's just like they were a little bit sad that it's only the people from the ladder, right? Like, there's no way to to make it if you're not on the ladder. We used like in tournaments like this, it used to just be invitationals, and I gotta say it like I don't think that's like the best way or the healthiest way. Like maybe having some invitation is okay, but if they're doing these are gonna be like pretty constant, and you need to have like a some form of format, some form of structure, some way like anyone can look and say, oh, this is how they got in, right? In these type of tournaments, if it's going to be an esports and consistent esports. So I think lobbies is like, or leaderboard is like the easiest way to do that. Maybe in the future they could try something else, but especially for the first ones, like it doesn't really make too much sense that it's that you pull from somewhere. Like you could have open tournaments. I do agree, like that could be something, but definitely not for the first one. Maybe if they see or they try it out and see, oh, maybe opens has more pool or more people or that participate or something like that. But right now, I don't really think that is too much of a concern. At least I'm pretty okay with this format. And what about you? What do you think about that one?
So there's a lot of thoughts here, and I think it's important to start off with saying,
Yeah,
I'm so happy.
I needed to let you start this because this is the more like.
Oh well, it's fine. Don't worry about it. So I think the first thing is it's amazing that they're doing it,
Yes.
right? Because you, especially you and I, coming from arena, right? Tech
Oh,
W,
that's so true, right? Like
like,
when you.
okay, we've honed our skill. We play for the leaderboard. Surely we get some type of support, right? Some competition or whatnot. I was like, no, no, you're not getting any of that.
Yeah.
So that's just the first thing, is to appreciate it and say we're actually going to have esports for Battlegrounds. Hell yeah, that is so good, and that is an amazing step in the right direction. I think that the concern of not having any type of qualifier is valid to an extent. I think that for the future, once everything is worked out and it's routine and they know what's what, I think you can throw at least maybe one spot in and you can say,
Oh
here's some hope.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Right.
like having a spot or two, right, for
Yeah.
qualifiers. Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe two people where you say this is going to be this giant ass open event,
Yeah, but it's like Solista
prior
level
run.
tournaments, right? Those are
Yeah.
stressful. You can't like.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
good luck, right? Like, I would much rather qualify through ladder than those. But it's hope, right? It's like it could be you. And that's a lot of the time. That's all people need. They need some hope. They be like, it could be me. Yeah, it
Yeah,
could be
it
me.
could
Right?
be.
Whereas now they can look at ladder and be like, it can't be me. It can't be me. So I think that is fair. Now I will say that the notion of people saying like, oh well, ladder is just purely time invested. I think that's a little silly, because it's so easy to just attack something where, oh, other people are doing well there, but it's only because they're spending a lot of time. It's like, well, isn't spending a lot of time and practicing your craft something that we should admire, not just say like, oh, you're only good because you're practicing a lot? It's like, yeah, what's the point? Right? It's like, yes, of course, like people do practice to get good. So I think it's a little weird to say, oh well, it's not really fair because only the people that can practice a lot have a shot. It's the same thing if you go into professional sports or whatnot. Those people, those athletes practice a lot. That's why they're professionals, right? So yeah, is it a little unfair, or more than a little unfair, that a streamer gets to practice more and therefore gets to grind more and increase the MMR, compared to someone who doesn't do this full time? Yeah, but it's, like that's what people want to watch. They want to watch someone who has a lot of time to perfect their craft and then put it on display. So I don't really understand the criticism of, hey, I don't do this full time, yet I want to have equal access. Where it's like, well, chances are that because you don't do it full time and you don't, or maybe not even full time, right? Let's say you have your day job, but you put in the hours. There's plenty of grinders. Like I think Lee, right?
Yeah. Yes.
He
Exactly.
has his day job. he's an absolute animal on the ladder. But he puts in the time and it shows on the ladder. Like he's obviously able to put in his time. Lee, for me, is a pro, right? So it's not just someone who streams for a living. Someone who's able to put in enough time to make it on the ladder, for me, that's a pro. And to take that away from them and say, oh, well, it doesn't really matter, it's just time infested, bullshit, right? Like, I'd like to see people that complain and say, I can't put in enough time to climb. Well, guess what? Then you probably can't put in enough time to be as good as those people that are on the top of those leaderboards.
To be fair, I also don't necessarily think that like it's time equal MMR. Like I don't understand why people have that like mentality. Oh yeah, the more time you spend at it, the higher you'll climb. That ain't true. You can lose MMR. It's so easy to lose MMR too. Like you consistency. Like the people at the top of the leaderboards are so consistent. Like that's why they're really good because they recognize those moments of like, oh, I got a good hero, let's win. But they are also recognize, oh, I got bad heroes or whatever, or Bob's not giving me anything. Let me salvage. Let me not go eighth, right? Because it's so easy. I could give any random player my account or theoretically and say play for a week. Drop down like crazy, and it's like, yeah, it's hard, isn't it, right? But you haven't been there, you haven't tried, you haven't seen how difficult it is to really maintain those rankings, and you're just saying it because you haven't been there. But it is tough, and to reach that top of the leaderboard, it does deserve respect, deserve recognition of like, oh yeah, they're consistent, they're playing well, they're playing a lot, they're not camping. All the people high leaderboard, they're just playing, like they're just still playing. Like I'm not really seeing any of them just like not playing at all. They're just keep grinding, right? They're like already in the lobby legends, and they're like, I'm gonna stop. No, they're just like, oh, let's keep playing, let's get better, because they know they need that practice. They know they need that competition from the opponents, right? The opponents are going to be higher skilled than if you made a fresh account. So they just want to get better because they know that's the competition they'll be fighting in the tournament. So it's hard to say, oh yeah, if I just had more time, I'd be better. If you had more time, you're likely to learn more, but it doesn't necessarily mean you'll be at the same skill level of the people that you're playing against, especially the people that are playing, nonstop there. So it just doesn't necessarily make that much sense to me to say, oh yeah, if I had more time, right? Even if and even if like I wasn't playing as much, I'd still you'd still be like, I'd still be top 100 for sure. I'd still be top 50, and then like I'd know, oh okay, I need to focus. I need to spend like a day off or something to get there, right? And it's definitely doable. You don't necessarily need to make this your job or anything. Time does help, and I have a lot of previous time played, right? So it's a lot easier for me to adapt to a meta and then do well. But it doesn't necessarily mean, oh, if I spent 10 more hours or something, playing, I'd be farther ahead. You can definitely spend 10 more hours, be a weaker player overall because you're learning the wrong concepts or you're not understanding how the meta is shifting from day to day or something like that. So I do agree with that one. That one I don't necessarily understand myself there. A particular argument.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, there's always going to be that thrown around, but I think for the most part, the message here is overwhelmingly positive. Yes, Battlegrounds esports, amazing. Thank you, Blizzard. It's like I've definitely had my time where I said, I can't believe you haven't done this yet, Blizzard. But this time around, it's like, yes, thank you, appreciate this.
Yeah. Any other little concerns that you've heard from other people, or if anyone in chat has like anything that they want to ask in terms of concerns? Because there's the time investment, which I think is fair. There's it's only ladders, which I also think is fair.
I guess the disconnecting is something.
Oh, the disconnecting.
Yeah, I think it's also good to talk about that because it's such a divisive topic, I suppose, right? You've got the people that are pro disconnecting and people that are against disconnecting. My take on it is that I would prefer that it wasn't a thing, but as long as people can utilize it, I think it's silly if you're not doing it. I think it's fine if you say, I just don't like it, I'm not going to be doing it. But I don't think you can give people shit for disconnecting. If Blizzard themselves say, hey, we can't monitor offline, like meaning if people aren't streaming, we
Yeah.
can't monitor if those people are disconnecting or
Yeah.
not. So streamers are allowed to disconnect. So stop giving streamers shit for disconnecting. Blizzard literally said, it's okay. If you want to qualify for Lobby Legends, you can disconnect. Like,
Yes.
I think this is the first time we've had an official statement like that from Blizzard to say,
True.
you're good. You
But-
have the green light.
But they also just went ahead and said, tournament, nah, no disconnecting for the tournament.
But I think that's fine because then no one else does it. It's just annoying if you know that you're not doing it and other people are gaining a time advantage.
Right.
I'm totally fine with having to play my APM Pirates and the stats being smaller if I know I'm not going up against someone who is doing shit with a brand and a Khadgar and they have unlimited time and they make a big Amalgadon board or so in a turn that they normally can't make. So I think that's something good to bring up.
So
now, yeah, go ahead.
You are okay with both stances where it's like,
Yeah, no,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay.
I think what I would prefer, because
because there's an argument to be made like, oh, if the people are qualifying by utilizing this strategy, and now you're cutting off this strategy for the people that qualified, aren't you just making them weaker, essentially, right? Like,
Well, I would say if you are capable of getting top 16 on the ladder, you are capable of playing with both.
Yes, I know, but I'm throwing out, devil's advocates
So
here.
you can almost compare this to athletes, and they can juice up to qualify for the Olympics, but once it's the Olympics, they gotta get out the juice, right? So
Sure.
their records aren't gonna be as good as when they were practicing.
I have not used that example before, but I see it, I guess.
Like the hogger is gonna be a little smaller during the finals. Right?
Sure, all right. That's fair. But
No, but yeah, I was just finishing up to a point where I said that I would hope that in the future that they just that they just fix it, that whichever solution they want to go with. I'm assuming that it's going to be something along the lines of, when you disconnect, you're going to just be placed back in the battle. I think that's the most likely solution that we're going to end up with. I don't think we're going to get a skip button. I don't think we're going to get something like TFT where the animations speed up and everyone's on the same timer. I think that's just what we have to live with, right? This, BGs, it really appeals
everyone
to
on the same timer. That would be interesting.
It'd be great, right?
Yeah.
Everyone the same, like that is really good for competition.
I've never thought about that. That's true,
But
right?
that
TFT does that.
It brings other issues with it.
It does, yeah.
You have your casual player who's saying like, I don't want to wait an extra 25 seconds. Or like, bro, I just hit the ghost. I don't want to sit here for 70 seconds. Are you kidding me, right? I don't want to just...
Brucon's in the lobby. I have 100, 70 seconds every game. Like, it's okay.
So I wouldn't mind. I would think it'd be cool. I think it also would give you a little bit of a moment where you're like, I get to chill. I get to not have to, because usually when you're watching the battle, you're still...
Yeah, you're still freaking out.
You're still invested. Left, right, not in the shield. What are you doing?
It's so true, because it's like, well, if this goes here, I lose. If this goes here, I destroy him.
I could be dead. I could be dead. Okay, now I can think about my turn. I'm alive. Regardless. So yeah, the final message there, I guess, for me is, I'm fine with tournaments that allow disconnecting. I'm fine with tournaments that are against disconnecting, as long as everyone is constrained by the same thing. I'm okay with it, because then it's fair.
Okay.
The only issue I would have is, rightly so, what they point out, if they would make it illegal for streamers to disconnect, but offline you can disconnect, that means we're gonna have a fewer streamers during the last couple of days when they're making a push, so they can disconnect and be better.
Oh, right. Another thing that people were concerned about was that, it's so soon. It's already like 2-week notice.
Oh yeah.
That's true, right? Like, you got a 2-week notice to get top 16. Like, what the hell? But like, I'm coming in and I'm just like, that doesn't make sense to me, because they told us that this is the season where your placements matter. This is the only reason why I'm trying this month. I saw, look, your placements matter this season. So I was like, okay, I guess I need to try, right? And then You see me trying. So it doesn't really make sense. I think if you are confident enough that you are aware that this exists and you are looking to make it, you should have known that your placements or like your ranking mattered this season. And I was thinking it was like maybe just top four, right? That was where I was coming from. So I was
I
like,
was just prepping for top four. I gotta hold this rank button as long as I can. I'm
yeah,
like, hang on, I'm gonna bite in.
right. And it's the right mentality, right? Because now I see it's top 16. I'm like, oh, I'm very free. Like it's I can chill here. Um, but I think if you were aware of Lobby Legends, you should have known that this is the season that you need to try. So just coming in and saying, oh yeah, it's the end of the month. I had no idea. You had the whole month to know, and you should have
Yeah,
known. So that
no,
that
I agree.
yeah, that really didn't really make sense to me, particularly, especially since I was like so adamant about it, like from the get go. I was like, "Are you guys not competing? Like, what are you guys doing?"
I guess it's just a mindset difference.
Um, kind of,
I'm admitting if they don't know the exact ins and outs. And to play devil's advocates here, they could have said it sooner. Sure,
yeah,
right? They could have,
sure, okay,
they could have made it clear, like, hey, these are the cutoff dates. This is when you need to get started, or this is when you can get started, right? This is when we reset the season, and this is the cutoff point. Like, I think it's end of February, right before midnight, right? That's the
yeah.
cutoff point.
And the next one's end of March.
Yeah, but that's completely devil's advocate. Like, I am completely with you where I say here, were you not trying to win earlier then, or what? Like, what's going on? Like,
To be fair, I do not try to win. Like in the other seasons, I don't care. I just lose.
okay, but you're, like you mentioned, that's when you know that
Yeah,
there's nothing on the
yeah,
line.
yeah. Okay, that's true. I did know,
Yeah,
so I was trying to win.
like this. So this would be relevant if Lobby Legends wasn't announced and they said, "Hey guys, by the way,
There's new
in two
lobby
weeks,
legends. Yeah. Oh, that's
yeah, we're
true.
gonna
I,
introduce esports."
I,
And guess what? That's the top 16 of the ladder that qualified. Good luck, everyone. Now,
that
I
would be
get it.
so
That's
troll.
outrageous. That's ridiculous. And for some people, that might be how they found out the news. So that might be where those reactions came from, where sure, Lobby Legends was announced, but it's not like people were like super hyped. It was
All
always
right.
in the spotlight.
Like,
People were tweeting about it, tweeting about it. That's not really how it was. It was like, okay, it was mentioned, it's going to happen. And everyone that was in the scene, right, deep in the scene, they knew. But it could be that there were some people that weren't paying attention. That was like, wait, what? What? Only 2 weeks? That's ridiculous. How come you guys didn't say this earlier? So yeah, that's where I can understand that. But yeah, for if you knew Lobby Legends was coming and you weren't pushing, that's on you, right? That's you just not, thinking ahead.
yeah, and I do think like the announcements will get better with time, right? They've already announced the second one, the cutoff for that one, right? And they did say they were kind of finalizing the details, like the day before they announced it. So they were still like figuring out when they want to do it, how they want to do it, the qualifiers, everything. So they wanted to make sure that they were clear. I remember asking them as soon as the season reset, like, when are you posting this info? Like, when are you posting this information like for us? And they're like, oh, we're still finalizing. Or it seems it took a couple of weeks, but it's good to know, right? And it looks like they were still deliberating until just recently what they want the actual tournament and qualifier to look like, because Czech system is definitely unique. They definitely spent some time on that, and the qualifiers for China being different from the other regions also probably had to discuss between the managers there. So I do understand why this first one is very abrupt, at least officially. Like, they had the rumblings, right? But the official one is pretty abrupt. But it looks like the next ones will be quicker. We already know the next tournament cutoff and all that, so that's pretty good. And I did see that popping up. It was too quick, right? And I do want to address it. Like, if you are competing, you should know about it. It'd be funny if like the rank 2 guy in like Asia Pacific is just like, what are they talking about? It's like, I just played the game. I don't even know what's going on.
Oh yeah, that would be such a Chad. It was like, what? You guys were? Oh, yeah, I can win money with this. Okay, yeah, nice. Yeah, sure, I'll play.
So yeah, that would be pretty sick. But other than that, those are I guess the main concerns I saw, but I probably missed some, but um, pretty good. So I think that's all the topics for this week. You have anything else you want to end on? Any final anything? The
No,
patch, the meta.
think I think we've covered it all. It was very good, and yeah, and I guess for me, it's even though there's a lot of clown fiesta stuff going on, I do kind of thrive in that environment where it's just okay. You just got to figure out how to get the silly stuff online. Okay, I can do that. So it's yeah. Even though it might not be super healthy for the game, it's pretty healthy for my MMRs. I am enjoying this for as long as it lasts.
I don't think I'm a Clown Fiesta player, but I feel like other people will tell me that's not true. So I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe I am, but I don't feel like it. I feel like I'm very very structured with my chaos. It's structured chaos. I would say for me, and I guess that
I,
works well here.
I will say that you're definitely less you lean less into the bullshit, I think, but it's more just
But
well
yeah,
rounded.
yeah
And I
my
think
normal is bullshit
the
though. So
perfect yes, 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 that's true. That's true. A perfect example is we get to tier 6 earlier today when
oh
we were
yeah,
co-oping.
yeah.
There's a seafood chef, and Colin's like, so we're using that on the Tidehunter in the shop, right? I'm like, what? This
Yeah,
is
I still
wrong
stand by
material.
it. I still stand by that
No,
play. I
and,
think
and that's perfectly valid, but I think that says more about your playstyle where you're like, okay, that's the solid one, right? We're going to take the 6 drop. We're looking for direction.
yes.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting there like the direction is Brand Amalgadons. Like this, come on, like we're not settling here. We're doing Brand Amalgadons. We're gonna go off. We're gonna do some crazy stuff. And like your MMR does reflect it. Yours is probably better. You are the higher ranked player, so that is very fair. But that's I think that says a lot about the playstyle right now. It's like, no, this is Primal Fin, Amalgadon, or I'm gonna die with it in my hand.
You could have tripled that seafood. I'm just saying,
Yes,
like
I did not play optimally in our last co-op game, Paul. This is correct. Would you like to drive it up again? Yes, dream game. True.
all right. Anyways, I do think it's been a good discussion. I think we covered pretty much everything. Patch is okay. We want more. At least for me, I want them to address a lot of things because there's a lot of things to address in terms of the meta. A lot of imbalanced heroes, a lot of underpowered heroes. It's kind of crazy, but personally, since there's a lot of OP heroes, as long as you're getting one, it's manageable. The problem is if you don't get one, right, then you're kind of struggling to top four. And then Lobby Legends, ton of overview. We've covered pretty much the qualifiers, how to get in, how to participate. If you're a streamer, if you can co-op and co-host, not co-host, but like you can co-stream it. It seems so. There's a lot of opportunity there to have a good event around that. So even if you're not playing, so a lot of good stuff there. So a lot of good things to take away from this particular podcast here. So that will be the end of this particular podcast. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for the hosts and the raids as well. And do appreciate if you guys like the content. Feel free to follow. You can find me Educatedcollins, Twitch. Find Shadybunny at Twitch and Twitter and YouTube as well. So a lot of good people here. Why are we spamming? This reminds me of Death itself, even though it's not him. But that's his icon. So I'm just like, oh yeah, Death's here. I was like, no. But generally, hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys learned a bit about the tournament and how to get there. And hope you guys enjoyed the patch and the meta. And we'll see you guys on the next one, probably. And that'll be it.
For sure.